Hey folks, this is Zach, and today I'm starting a little cycling trip from Florida to Indiana, if it all works out. So, let's see what I'm packing. I have not put any of this stuff in the backpack yet, but all needs to go in. I've already got a food bag here with canned food, which is not great for weight, but it's just hanging off the front of my bike. We'll see if this holds up. Otherwise, I'll need to get some fancy beef jerky or something. And I have a lot of other stuff down here that all needs to fit into this backpack. Let's see if I could do it. So the backpack itself is just like a 65 liter backpack from Five Below. It's got a steel or aluminum frame here, which is really annoying when you're cycling because it sort of pushes against the back of your neck. Great when you're actually backpacking though. It has a slot for a water container, which I have one of. It's going to go in right now. Not filled up. I'm just doing 12 miles to a friend's house today, and I'll have a 40-some mile day tomorrow. Let's get that in there. And because this trip is so long distance, about 1,000 miles at least, I made directions for myself. Very, very detailed directions. Many pages of them. So I'll have these out while I'm cycling. I put a sort of double-sided backup and laminated it to make it waterproof. This is going right in the pack now. Hopefully I don't need to pull this out. That's only if I lose my other set of directions, but I have a backup, just for safety. Of course it might rain, and this backpack isn't really waterproof, so I have a trash bag, and this is going to be the first thing that goes into that bag. This is sort of a dry bag, and everything else will go inside this. So hopefully this could keep stuff dry. If it rains, I could just keep cycling. The outside of the backpack and anything in these side compartments could get wet, but all the stuff in this bag will stay dry. So, next is my sleeping setup, and I am very low-tech with sleeping setup, as you're about to see. I have tarps, 2 of them, about 5 by 7. One of those goes down on the ground to keep water off my stuff. I have a very thin sleeping bag and bivy sack. This should be waterproof, it's not. This is just an extra layer to keep me warm if necessary, or a blanket. I have an empty pillowcase I pulled the stuffing out of. I can stuff it with leaves or moss if I need a pillow. And I have a little bedroll that's just 2 blankets I have sort of tied up together. I don't know if I'll keep both of them. I may toss one if it ends up being too heavy, but I do like being comfortable while I sleep, and I am not much of a tent person. The problem with tents, of course, is that if a bear or a mountain lion or a person comes up on you in the night, you are an easy target inside a tent, and you can't see anything outside the tent. I'd rather just be sleeping out in the open. Also, tents are heavy and annoying unless you buy one that's worth more than all of my gear put together. This is literally just cheap gear, 1,000-mile trip. You can do trips without having super expensive gear. You do not need to put out like $3,000 to go on a trip. That's stupid. Well, it makes things comfortable, but if you don't have that sort of money, that's stupid. Now, I also have 2 spare tubes for the bike, which are going into the dry bag here. I have some extra clothes there just for today. I have a few pairs of pants and shirts over there. I'm switching between wearing sandals and actual shoes on this trip. And other than that, the only clothing I have is a few pair of socks down there and a towel. Clothing weighs the most, it seems like. It really does seem that way. On any trip, clothing is what weighs you down. Clothing, food, and water. So I try to limit how much I take on this one. I don't know if I'll regret it or if I will end up disposing of some along the way because I've taken too much. We will see. After a few days of cycling, we will see. All right, and here I have a bag of stuff for the night. Bug spray, which I was going to leave, but my friend convinced me to take it. Probably for the best. Got some incense to double up as insect repellent. I'll probably just use it for a night or two, then toss the rest, or just throw it all in the fire, which would be fun. Speaking of fire, down here, you can probably see them. I got a few candles, which, I don't break this bag trying to open it. There we go. I've got a few candles to provide light in the campsite and to start fires. It's a lot easier than wearing out my lighter, trying to reach into a fire, burning my fingers. Do I need 3 candles? 1 for each week of travel? I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe something I toss. You always do want to get rid of weight after you start. Some fishing line. I'm going to string it up around my campsites when I'm camping in the woods, just so I have a bit of notice if any bear, person, or mountain lion comes at me. And I have a headlamp, which is, sort of a weird headlamp. It has buttons on each side that do different things. And last but not least, I have a no-seam head net in case my head is exposed and there are mosquitoes and no-seams everywhere. This goes over my head. Hopefully it's not too warm outside, otherwise I'll be sweating like a pig. Now for toiletries, of course, most important part of any trip. I have a bit of toilet paper here. I have a trowel to dig cat holes with, and I have some wet wipes which double as sort of a shower in a bag, because you could wipe yourself off with these if you're sweaty or gross. I will need to replenish this along the way, no doubt. That's only like half a roll. Next, we have rain gear. There is a mylar blanket here, very lightweight, it's heat reflective. This is if it's very cold because I'm on top of a mountain and I need to sleep and I'm shivering. Wrap this around myself. You can only use it a couple times because it'll tear, but it's not, well, it's useful. It's a survival tool. Under that, there's some goggles because cycling in the rain hurts your eyes after a while. And last, there's a poncho. I dislike ponchos, you always sweat under them, but it's lightweight and it's useful to have just if I'm stuck in a 10-hour-long rainstorm. You can see it off to the side here. I have two little water pouches. Both of these connect to a water filter so you could squeeze through the filter and filter water into a normal bottle, which sadly my normal bottle is missing, so I'll have to grab one at a store. All right, carrying on, there is this, which just has a few bike fixing tools in it, so I can tighten the brakes. If I need to change a tube out on a tire, I can do that. Now that's actually all that's in there. Next, money. I just have a bit of cash in here. I have change, I need to get rid of it. I know, you shouldn't really have change when you're on a bike, because coins are heavy, but I will get rid of that as soon as possible. Probably buying new water bottles. After that, I have my electronics and a bit of extra cordage for tying stuff. I also have batteries, cards for my GoPro, extra Venmo card in case I lose my debit card somehow. In here, I have a power bank. This one is, it has a solar power thing. It takes a few days to charge, I've heard. Has a flashlight and a little compass on it, which is cool. The other one is a bit fancier. I mean, it stores more power, but it doesn't have any of the extra perks like solar and compass and all that. Other than that, there's some rope. There's a bungee cord here. Bungee cord for tying stuff down. A few rubber bands and a bit of streamer as string. All right, and the last two bags here, we have some water stuff. There's a filter, a little syringe to clear out the filter if it gets clogged. And we have both iodine and sodium citrate, I think. Iodine filters water and purifies it if this filter isn't working for whatever reason. And sodium citrate makes it taste good afterwards. And the other bag is just toiletries. Toothpaste, which I'll probably use for a day or two, then toss, because I have a smaller tube somewhere and I don't want any extra weight. There's an extra toothbrush, which is an incredible toothbrush because it's like a magical wall toy. It just it sticks onto the wall. And there's deodorant and some eye wash in there for if stuff gets in my eye. Also a bar of soap, which I don't know if I'll hold on to. I doubt I'll smell good during any time in the next 3 weeks. Besides that, we just got a few other things. Bandana and hat that I'm going to be wearing now. When I'm not wearing this hat, I will be wearing this helmet, which is sort of a one-time use helmet, I've been told. I was given it by someone who used to bike but doesn't anymore because of a bad knee. And this thing, if you drop it 3 feet, it's broken because there's an inner layer that sort of cracks and breaks the first time you hit your head really hard. And that takes all of the cracking and breaking power away from your brain. Sort of like if you had an egg that has two shells, and when you drop it, the outer shell breaks and the inner shell is okay. In this case, the outer shell is the helmet and the inner shell is your skull. So it's good for this to break. And then you need a new helmet afterwards, but your brain will stay okay. And this little thing is a GoPro mount, so I'll look funny with a GoPro on my head. Anyway, other than everything else you've seen, there is a little toiletry bag that has iodine, Q-tips, super glue, earplugs, Carmex like lip cream, condoms which can be used to store water, among other things. sleeping mask, all sorts of little things, backup toiletry stuff, which again, I'll probably get rid of a lot of this because I don't like carrying extra weight. And aside from that, there's just little things that go in the pockets. You've already seen some of this. Things that I was going to put in their own bags, but actually they're going in quick access pockets. This is the only weird souvenir I'm bringing. It's like a 3D printed, very lightweight octopus. I'll try and give it to someone. Feather for a friend. It's a running joke. There's music, too. Music. I bought this at a flea market just yesterday for $3. And it is a harmonica. And as you can imagine, I have no idea how to play it, so it's horrible. Hopefully it will drive away any wild animals that may be going near my campsite. It's not just for fun. It is actually because a lot of animals like wild boars don't like loud sounds, so you play that, they will go running off. Better than having to fight an animal with a knife or something. Or, rather than with a knife, with bear spray, which my friend has let me borrow. Bear spray works where you pull out this tab and you press down and it just shoots a spray right out of here. It is all the same ingredients as red pepper. It has capsaicin in it. It could cause permanent, irreversible eye damage if you spray that person's face at close range. For a bear or a mountain lion, it sort of drives them away. If they keep attacking, they can't see, so you have at least a tiny fighting chance. A fighting chance, of course, with my little tiny knife. Heavy knife, but tiny knife. So I was going to bring a machete, too much weight, too annoying to carry around. I was also going to bring a gun, but unfortunately, Florida, the state I'm in now, does not have constitutional or permitless concealed carry laws right now. They will have them in 1 month. So if I had made this trip 1 month later, I'd be able to carry a gun through Florida concealed with no permit. As it is, I will be going with bear spray and a knife. Other than that, I have a little hand towel which could double as a wash towel if I decide my full-size towel is too heavy or it gets wet and smells bad that I toss it away. A lot of hiking or long distance cycling, with cheap stuff rather than fancy ultralight gear does involve just tossing stuff away when it breaks or gets too cumbersome to use. I have a spoon, reusable. It's from a restaurant called Kava, which you should go to. It's great, but it's reusable. I have a backup pair of sunglasses, which are plastic, broken, but they still fit fine. I need to show you now. They look ridiculous, of course, but it's just backup sunglasses I found at my workplace. I guess someone broke their glasses and just gave them away to the workplace, so I claimed them. I have these wild glasses now. You can barely tell they're broken. They fit fine. Hopefully my glasses don't break though, and I could just wear my own normal sunglasses. Other than that, there's my phone charger. I do have, this is like a normal charger. Oh, doesn't like to focus on it. I have one extra of this charger, and I have one extra one that charges, the one that has like this, but it's like flat on one side for charging one of the power banks. I have an extra one of that. I have a bottle opener because I'll probably end up taking beers on hikes because I've gotten into beer. Tiny compass that my mom gave me like 10 years ago maybe, which is cool because it's a ball. It just floats around like that. Expandable water cup or teacup, although you can't really put it in a fire. You can microwave it. It makes good tea. You could pour hot water into it. It holds it just fine. It actually smells like the last tea I made with bottle brush leaves, so it smells really nice. Oop, and it doesn't want to collapse. Tiny bike pump, which I've used plenty of times. It's good. Very lightweight. Mio Energy, not because I'm a caffeine addict. I'm not. Just for the vitamins. It has some B vitamins and stuff. Lots of weird ingredients. It has some vitamin C, sodium citrate, citric acid right there. Hopefully it keeps me from getting muscle cramps in my calves from too much cycling. I get a few electrolytes. Other than that, artificial tears because wind in your eyes is not great. And chapstick, just for sun protection. All right. I think that's about it. The last thing is something I made specifically because I'm going through Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Indiana. Some of that is deep south, the Bible Belt. So I put a sign, I'm going to put it on the back of my backpack, that's laminated. It says honk if you love Jesus. Two purposes. One, people honk when they're behind me, so I will know they're there. If it's a narrow road with no bike lane, I try to avoid those, but there are a few on my route. I could get off the road and let them pass. Also, to the best of my knowledge, some people in rural Georgia may take great pleasure in running cyclists off the road, but not if they have a Love Jesus sign on the back of their backpack. In that case, people may be more pleasant with me. Maybe I'll get to experience some southern hospitality from them. We'll see. This is just no reason not to have this, and if it makes people treat me better if I'm on a bike, great. Just like when I walk into a store and ask to refill my waters or something, if it's a specifically very Christian person, they may help out. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm afraid to travel here or anything. When I traveled in other countries, cycling and backpacking, people were really nice. I experienced a lot of hospitality and just kind people in general. But people in America are a bit more suspicious of strangers. So anything, even something like this, that makes people more likely to approach me is a good thing, I feel like. Anyway, folks, I'm about to get started on my cycling trip. Just need to pack away the last of my stuff and put the backpack on and realize I packed too much, as I always do. And peace out, folks. I'm going to post this video tonight before I cycle. Before I start the serious cycling days. I'm going to be filming a lot with the GoPro and with my phone in the next 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know when it'll get posted because right after that I'm going on a 2-week-long road trip out to Washington State with one of my friends. So it may be a couple months before all this starts coming up. There should be some really cool stuff. I'm planning to go to some interesting cycling and hiking routes and camping places along the way. There'll definitely be adventures to see. I have 2 chips for my GoPro. That's like 20 hours of footage potentially. So get ready for some cool stuff. It's all coming up. Till then, folks, stay safe and have some adventures.